Welcome to the Country Cabin Retreats podcast, What is Love? Today we're joined by Dr. Nicole Maxwell, a naturopathic doctor with over 23 years of integrative family medicine experience and a deep passion for helping people rebuild their energy from the inside out. Welcome back to the Country Cabin Retreats podcast, What is Love, where we explore what it really takes to build love that lasts and lives that thrive. I'm your host, Carrie. I'm the owner of Country Cabin Retreats, and today I'm thrilled to introduce one of our upcoming Conscious Couples Retreat facilitators, Dr. Nicole Maxwell. Dr. Nicole is a highly skilled naturopathic doctor with over 23 years of experience in integrative family medicine. She's known for her unique approach that blends the best of medical science with natural therapies, always aiming to address the root cause of imbalance and not just the symptoms. After completing her studies at Boston College and earning her doctorate from Bastyr University, she spent years training with some of the most respected naturopathic physicians in the U.S. today. And when she's not helping patients restore vitality, you'll likely find her hiking with her family or building core strength in Pilates. Dr. Nicole will be joining us alongside her husband, Daniel Macca, former therapist and current executive coach, for a transformative Conscious Couples and Vitality Retreat in Calgary, Alberta during the 2026 Calgary Stampede. Together, they'll guide couples through a journey of both relational and physical renewal, blending emotional awareness, communication mastery, and deep body intelligence. Dr. Nicole's sessions, part of her signature series, The Vitality Reset, the Energy Blueprint for Lasting Health and Connection, will help you rebuild your energy from the inside out through gut health and hormonal balance, understand what your heart and liver are really telling you about your well-being, and reconnect you with your partner through shared practices that support vitality, clarity, and longevity. From the gut reset to hormones in midlife and the hands-on Energy Blueprint in Action herbal workshop, this is a chance to reset your system and your relationship in the most natural and empowering way. So if you've ever felt tired, foggy, or off balance, or simply ready to reignite your energy and connection, this episode is for you. Dr. Nicole, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Dr. Nicole's work, I'd just love for Dr. Nicole to share with us, what's your background and what inspired you to pursue naturopathic medicine?
Hi, thank you for that lovely intro. I studied biology and pre-med in undergrad and thought I was going to go to conventional medical school, did all the applications. I only knew about conventional medical school. And then I got sick myself, which is a common story for naturopathic physicians. I got sick, I had fibromyalgia, I went through the conventional system, and it didn't help me. It was kind of like, here's some antidepressants because you're just depressed. And I was like, well, I'm not depressed. I'm just in pain. So I was living at my sister's house, and terrible thing, I got hooked on soap operas, which are very draining to your whole spirit. Her stuff, and I was being nosy, and she happened to have a brochure from Bastyr University, the naturopathic medical school in Seattle. And I read the front page, and it was exactly what I was looking for, talking about integrating your whole self, body, mind, and spirit to find the cause or causes of whatever is going on, removing obstacles to cure, and giving the body the building blocks it needs to move towards health and cure. And I was like, yes, this is actually what I need. This makes sense to me. So I did my prereqs, got in, and got cured, and the rest is history.
So interesting that you were following that conventional path and then something, personal happened and kind of caused you to deviate, a few happenstance things happening with Bastyr, the Bastyr pamphlet, and it all kind of came together. So you've practiced medicine now for over 23 years, and you've worked deeply in both standard medical, diagnostics and natural therapies. So what is it that draws you to this integrative approach?
Well, the integrative approach is really, it's actually more about the philosophy that's different. So instead of in conventional medicine, if someone came in with eczema, we might say, oh, well, let's just give you a steroid to make the eczema go away. And as a naturopath, I go, but why? I'm that 2-year-old that's always asking, but why, but why, but why? And so it could be a nutrient deficiency. It could be an emotional block. It could be gut dysbiosis, it could be a number of things. And if we can address that cause, then remove it and give the body the building blocks it needs, the nutrients or getting rid of inflammation, then the body will heal itself. And then you have cure, which is long lasting versus just putting out the fire. If we can get to cure, that's a deeper healing than having to rely on even supplements or medication.
Getting to the root cause of the kind of like 5 why strategy for the symptom. Yeah, that's really cool. So you describe in the Energy Blueprint series, and it explores gut health and hormones and heart health and liver function. Why do you choose these 4 pillars particularly to, create this blueprint series?
Well, these 4 systems, the gut, the heart, the liver, and our hormones, are the core regulators of energy and vitality. So our gut extracts nourishment from our food, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff helps create nutrients as well. The liver processes everything that enters our body and detoxifies. The hormones regulate rhythm and resilience, and the heart connects everything together, so both physically and emotionally. So when the 4 are in harmony, energy flows physically and emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so these are kind of like the most important. Like if you focus on these, this will give you a great foundation for that vitality we keep talking about.
Absolutely. I exactly think about it like a foundation. If you're building a house, you need the foundation to be strong and capable and also flexible. And that's where the liver, the heart, the gut, the hormones, all of those together, you'd have an amazing mansion.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, it sounds like just almost like an orchestra of the body coming together in this synchronicity. Okay, so along these lines, some of the symptoms, this tired, wired, or foggy or off balance feeling. Like I know a lot of people describe this feeling. Like, what is going on, and what are some of the symptoms behind that fatigue?
Well, I think in this modern age, we have a lot of stressors. We have a lot of chronic stress. It could be positive stress or negative stress. And we tend to have disrupted sleep rhythms or circadian rhythms. And our food is not as the great quality as it used to be. And so we get nutrient depletion. And then we have, antibiotic use, and the nutrients aren't as great. And we have stress, and that affects our gut. And then the gut microbiome is off. And then we have a blood sugar imbalance. So it just all kind of comes together to put our bodies in this kind of a sympathetic overdrive, this kind of constantly go, go, go. And our bodies never get that signal to rest and to repair. So in that state, your adrenal glands handle your energy and your ability to handle stress. And the mitochondria, the little powerhouses in every cell of the body, they just can't keep up with this constant demand. And that's where you're just kind of like, go, go, go. But there's nothing to support the go, go, go. So you're tired. So stress affects every pillar. It inflames the gut. When we have stress, our good gut bugs have a harder time thriving, and the bad gut bugs have an easier time thriving. It taxes the liver. The liver has to handle all these stress hormones that are flowing through it. And then it's having to handle this gut dysbiosis imbalance in the gut as well. And if the gut is off and then the liver is off, then it throws off your hormones because your hormones aren't being processed as gracefully maybe as they used to be. And then all of that tension constricts the heart. So we've got this biological stress, chemical stress, we have digital stress from all the information we get exposed to and the cell phones and iPads and all that kind of stuff. So it's really important to focus on recovery. And I want people to know that recovery is not laziness. It's necessary physiology to help us recover and be our best self.
You said those pillars of fundamental physical health, they didn't have time to address, and we almost became unconscious to, eating certain foods or taking on certain behaviors or thinking that a certain level of stress is actually normal and productive, whatever that may be. And that absolutely will influence some of these physical markers. Another segment that we have at the retreat is this heart health and emotional vitality. So much like the retreat, we've got the physical component that you're going to kind of tackle and help us with at the retreat, along with the mental and emotional and communication strategies in relationships. So we've got this beautiful pairing. We often think of the heart in a physical sense, but it also holds emotional energy. How do you see the link between cardiovascular health and emotional connection in relationships?
Well, the heart processes both blood and emotion. So when we have emotional stress like grief or anger or loneliness, we have an epidemic of loneliness, that directly affects the vascular tone and the inflammatory picture of the heart. So when we have more emotional balance, then we have more physical resilience of the heart, more even heart rate variability, and it helps decrease inflammation around the heart. Cholesterol as well in relation to the heart. So letting know that cholesterol isn't bad. We need cholesterol. Our brain is made of cholesterol. Our hormones are made from cholesterol. It's about how is it used and whether inflammation, cardiac inflammation is present.
Okay, so the heart is this super organ that's like really transmuting emotions and blood. Like it's
Yeah.
okay, wow. And even this idea of how like the heart rate can affect emotions. I know when I'm in a bit of a stressful situation, I can feel my heart rate if I'm conscious to it. I guess a lot of this is definitely happening on the unconscious level that people aren't even recognizing within themselves. So if I am in fact conscious to it, I can actually like feel my heart start to racing. What is that? What's happening there?
Stress hormones. Stress hormones are being released, and so it makes your heart pick up speed and blood pressure changes, and it's
Interesting. Okay, I'm learning lots here. Dr. Nicole is teaching me lots today. Another segment that we have within the retreat is called the gut reset. And you describe the gut as the foundation of overall health. So, how does gut health specifically influence mood, immunity, and energy levels, and thus relationships?
the gut is fascinating, and we're learning so many new things every day. So there's a lot we don't know. But what we do know is that humans, we carry more than 10 times microbial organisms than human DNA cells. So we're 10 times more other than us. We are a true superorganism. And about 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. So when your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, then mood and motivation can suffer because you're not able to make that serotonin, which also affects not only mood, but motility and a whole bunch slew of things. So when the gut is calm, then people are more patient and they're more connected and they're feeling more resilient. And it's hard to show up in a relationship when your body is inflamed and you're not feeling good and your tummy hurts and you're just not sure what's going on with your gut. Then it's harder to be present and in the moment and connected with anyone at that point. So it's really important to work on the gut and get that strong foundation, get our good gut bugs thriving so that we're thriving. Absolutely. If you don't feel good for whatever reason, then it's hard to be present for anyone else. And we do need inflammation. We need a certain level of inflammation. It makes the body move forward and make change. We just don't want too much. It's always going to be a Goldilocks level that I'm looking for.
Another piece of the retreat, and I know this is so important for a lot of people, and what often happens in relationships is, we've got heterosexual relationships where we've got different sets of hormones running through different bodies, and to actually like understand one another in a couple, and those differences in hormones alone, it can be very challenging. So your hormones in midlife session focuses on perimenopause and menopause. What are some of the most common myths or fears facing women during this transition?
Common myth is that menopause means decline, but it doesn't mean decline. It's just a recalibration. And that's what I really want women to know is we're just recalibrating to a different standard. And symptoms during perimenopause and menopause are not inevitable. We don't have to suffer through this time. I see all these social media things about how perimenopause is so terrible, and I just want people to know it does not have to be terrible. There are lots and lots of things that I'm going to cover with people at this conference to help to have an optimal transition to feel revitalized by this and to feel proud that you've made it through. I want women to go through perimenopause and menopause and be like, it was no problem. It was a breeze. I had the support I needed.
This is something, and especially with what I'll say, the kind of folks that are coming to our retreats, they're um, they're at a place in their career where they feel, grounded, and in the relationship, they might have been in a relationship for 15 to 20 years. And, this is kind of the age group that we're looking at and getting into these difficulties, and understanding them yourself as the individual can be challenging, again, let alone connecting that with your partner and allowing them in that space also. So in your experience, how does restoring hormonal balance influence intimacy, confidence, and self-awareness in some of those what could cause difficulties in relationship?
If a person experiences balance, then that in itself brings confidence, self-confidence. It brings connection and clarity. I think that perimenopause and menopause is a time for really knowing who one is and having that clarity of who you are in life and where you're going in life. And when you have that confidence and connection and clarity, then automatically you have emotional presence, and that can create intimacy. You're able to accept someone else for who they are because you're accepting yourself for who you are and where you are in this transitional state. Hormone therapy can be really safe and transformative in the right arenas. So during perimenopause and menopause time, I think one myth is that hormone replacement is bad, or that you can only do it for a period of time, or it has to be this or that. And so hormone therapy can be amazing and wonderful, and I really support it. When a person is younger, let's say fertility treatments, that's a whole different area of hormone therapy that is necessary to help, achieve the ends that you want, which is a baby. And younger women with menstrual issues, hormone therapy would look like perhaps herbs or seed cycling or many other ways that we can balance female hormones specifically.
There are so many places where there are hormonal changes within a coupling. Like I didn't really see it as clearly until we started talking about it here. Well, and I guess the question could be too is like, women do experience a lot of these fluctuations. Do men also experience a level of fluctuation, or how does that work with the gentlemen?
Well, the gentlemen, they have their main time of period when their testosterone could get lower. And that doesn't mean it's normal aging. It's just sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't have to happen. Before this andropause, it's called, they are pretty steady, except in their teen years when testosterone comes online, and then it's like, whoa, crazy. So we have in the vital man portion of the talk that I'm going to be giving, I'm going to be talking about how do we support testosterone naturally, because low testosterone can lead to low sex drive, a low mood, low connection. It's harder to connect with their partner when their testosterone is low. They're just not feeling good. And so restoring that balance helps men to re-engage in life and in relationships.
Wow, like I'm hearing that, sometimes the complaint can be from women that their partners are emotionally checked out or whatever it is, and it could be a situation where there's just low testosterone.
Absolutely.
Huh, interesting. So detox is a buzzword that's often misunderstood. How do you define true detoxification from that naturopathic standpoint?
Great question. True detox, a lot of us simplify it to detox or liver cleanse. They're kind of interchangeable with detoxification. But a true detox isn't just a juice cleanse, which is pretty popular. It's about supporting the body's built-in pathways, the liver, the kidneys, the lymph, the skin, the gut, all of our organs of elimination, so that they're working in harmony and excreting everything that needs to be excreted that isn't supporting the body. So the liver is constantly filtering hormones, environmental toxins, metabolic waste. Everything that comes in has to get processed and go out. And that's what the liver is doing all the time. The liver is really interesting because you can lose 75% of it and grow a whole new liver from that last 25%. So it's really fascinating. It's one of the only, I think it's the only organ that does that, that can regenerate. So, and it generally regenerates in about, not when you're losing 75% of your liver, but in general, about every 3 weeks, you kind of get a whole new liver. So if you do small changes, you can get, I call it a top of the line, and you can do really gentle daily support as well. That wouldn't be like a true medical detoxification, which I will go into at the program, but just some general daily support ideas are good hydration. So you're kind of our 8-ish cups of water a day, but the water has to be good quality water, not just from the tap, maybe a reverse osmosis or some kind of filtered water, and not from plastic. Maybe you have it in stainless steel or glass. Fiber is really important because fiber feeds our good gut bugs and it helps grab toxins and excrete them from the body. So 35 grams of fiber a day. Cruciferous vegetables are really helpful for the 2 phases of detoxification in the liver. And rest, of course, rest is super, super, super important. And all of those are together are really more effective than any extreme cleanse like a juice fast, for example.
So a good quality water, not in plastic. You know what? It's funny because I think about this a lot. It's because of you. We were traveling on the road, and I have since like this is I'm holding up my glass bottle now. A high quality water, good rest,
Fiber.
That was very interesting to me. A good fibrous, and that will kind of give you this top of the line liver reset.
I mean, I think that's like a gentle daily support that over the long run, absolutely, you're going to be helping your liver quite a bit. And then there are a lot of things that we can do on top of those basic daily life choices that can help even more.
Yeah, we'll explore some more of those at the retreat. In the context of relationships, how might supporting the liver and body's detox pathways influence mental clarity, patience, or emotional balance?
Another excellent question. So the liver in traditional Chinese medicine is the house of anger. So if you have a sluggish liver, then you could have more irritability and lower patience. And if you can clear the liver, then you might have more clear body communication, more communication skills because you're feeling better. Everything's processing optimally so that you can have more energy freed up to be compassionate and feel more equanimous. So supporting with detoxification can help bring clarity and calm and a sense of lightness that translates into better communication and connection.
So what do you think comes first? It's a bit of a chicken or egg here. Like, is it a thought that kind of starts working the body, or is it the body that creates the thoughts? Like, where do you think about all that?
Well, in relationship with the liver, if the liver is sluggish and it's not working well, then it has these irritants that are going to irritate your system, which will look like gut dysbiosis, hormone imbalance, cardiovascular irritability, mental irritability. And so I think part of it is the body that's expressing this irritability as, emotionally, you're just not feeling great. But how does the liver get to that level is the question. And that's usually what are we exposed to when we're younger? How was our family life growing up? What was our surrounding growing up? What was our food like growing up? All of these things that we're exposed to, antibiotics and food quality and social life, those affect also your liver and your gut and your heart and everything else. So it's definitely a mix. And when I do a visit with the patient, it's very long because I'm starting from in utero to now. That's the history that I want to know.
Very interesting. So it might not be as simple as, like, oh, I had this kind of depleting or destructive thought. It affects my body now. We're literally talking back to like inner utero, like you say. Yeah.
In utero and even generationally.
Right. Sure. Yeah. It goes back for like some of this can be in existence long before we even came along. Okay. So for people who feel overwhelmed by lifestyle changes, how do you help them take small, sustainable steps? Like you just talked about some really great, small, simple steps for the liver. Just overall, like what are some of those simple steps that can impact the energy blueprint?
I would start with one pillar and go from there. And within that pillar, for example, say the detoxification, just pick one thing and kind of see how that goes. So take a period of time, and then you just kind of build on every few weeks a small change. So small wins really matter. Sleep changes, hydration changes, movement, and if we do it consistently and persistently, then we build momentum and it becomes easier. I do agree though, some of this can feel overwhelming, like, oh my God, how do I do all these things? And my liver and my heart, oh, there's so many gut bugs. But
Totally.
just do one thing, grab one thing that feels doable, like for maybe a mind that's more analytical, you could go with, okay, I'm going to do 35 grams of fiber every day and just try that for a month. Great small change, big wins from that. Super fantastic, affects all areas of your health, all these pillars I've been talking about. And then you have positive feedback from that. And then you're like, okay, I can add one more thing now.
Really great. I'm visualizing that ladder photo that sometimes rolls around the internet where there's a person kind of like jumping to reach at that first rung on like a very tall ladder. And if you just take those little steps, that's what's ultimately going to get you to the top of the ladder or the health success.
Absolutely. One little step is perfect. Oh, and I was mentioning that was the fiber counting was like for the analytical mind, and maybe for, I don't know what the opposite of analytical mind is, but the more some other kind of mind, how that 1 minute of meditation every day,
Mm-hmm.
or taking a deep breath every hour during the day. And that will help, again, with all these areas. Absolutely. And it's very doable and not expensive. That's the other thing. I think sometimes it can feel like making these life changes is really expensive. But meditation is free. Choosing the right foods is free. So you can make these choices and change the direction of your life.
Really cool. Are you a doctor that would prescribe meditation?
Yes, I do prescribe meditation
Incredible.
to every single patient.
I keep waiting for this. This is so cool. That's great because that is truly the integrative approach. It's like it's not all about consumption into the mouth, it's consumption into the body, the mind, like all of these factors.
Body, mind, and spirit. That's naturopathic medicine. So
This is very exciting to me. Um, because, you know, I think especially in the direction of pharmaceuticals without kind of getting into a lot of that, what is the more grassroots approach than to say throw a pill at it? Like, can we actually have like some of those other mindfulness practices that bring us into alignment?
well, naturopathic philosophy, we want to do the least harm.
Mm.
That's the most important thing, is to do the least harm. And sometimes a prescription medication is the least harm.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be bad mouthing prescription medications. We try medications as well. And if we can do some things that are only beneficial, like meditation, that have very big payoff, why wouldn't we?
What was that phrase you used there? That was least harm possible.
Correct, the least harm.
Do you see herbal and natural practices as a way to reconnect not just to our bodies, but also to our partners and the natural world?
I would say absolutely. Anytime we're in nature, we're kind of reconnecting with spirit. And when we're reconnecting with spirit, we're reconnecting with all, whatever that all is for you, whatever your belief system is. Um, so plants kind of reconnect us with nature's intelligence, and it resets our nervous system. And if we can do it together, then that will help build that connection together.
Great. And I know we're working through some of the details, but we'll have an opportunity to get some of that like intimate experience with some herbs and plants. You know, we're going to be in the beautiful North Glenmore Park we're working out some details as to what that looks like there, what grows in the region, and modeling a workshop after getting your hands dirty, maybe is a little bit how we could say it, getting really one-to-one with the herbs and plants. That's great.
I love plant medicine. Plant medicine itself has a lot of innate intelligence. And so what I hope to have happen at this retreat is that people get to learn about plant spirit medicine. Every plant has a spirit, and we can connect to that spirit. Any person can connect to that spirit. It's just we just have to quiet down and listen, and then we can learn more about what does that plant have to teach us.
Yeah, like it still has that we are one kind of sense to it all. Like, how are we coexisting with plants? We've talked a bit about this conscious couples retreat, and how does the energy blueprint integrate into relationship health, and how do you help couples identify some of those imbalances that exist?
Well, vitality and connection go hand in hand. When a person feels great, optimally healthy, that's what I want. Optimally healthy, not normal. I want optimally healthy. When you feel optimally healthy, then you feel like you can be more outward, you can connect with the other person more deeply, and it just further enriches both lives. So sometimes it's physiology, not personality behind conflict. And if we can correct physiology, then that allays conflict. So understanding the body and understanding each other's body really builds compassion.
When couples explore this concept of vitality and optimal health, it can sometimes be done in silos, and it can sometimes be done together. Like, what do you think about the couple as having this commitment to vitality?
Well, I would say every human, right? I think it would be great if we all had a commitment to vitality, because again, if we feel great, we want others to feel great, and we're all together on this forward moving progress. So couples together supporting each other is even better, and it deepens that connection because you kind of really feel where each other is, and you're helping each other along. You're like two boats that are very connected going in the same direction.
Really cool. Yeah, we just did the podcast with Daniel also, and he referenced the two boats. Yeah, that's great. I think you said it came from your therapy, like early on or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, this idea, I'm hearing this idea of it gets easier if the collective is working at it together. On an individualistic level, it's great to kind of lead by example, but at the end of the day, it would be great to have a bit of a collective commitment.
Sure. Doing something with someone else is, I think, generally easier than doing it on your own. You have a little commitment buddy and a check-in buddy, and helping each other out through this life process.
And in that, like, we're going to also look at some ways to communicate with each other on that front. I know if health is, say, a sore spot for someone, maybe they're easily triggered into defensiveness or whatever it is. If somebody proposes, a bit of a health movement for the couple together, but we will look at ways, that we can effectively talk about, hey, we had this commitment, and this is what our long-term goal is, and this is what I'm seeing in our behavior. So we will talk about strategies and how to navigate that. And I know what's great about you and Daniel, and we're going to do a combined couples podcast in a few days here, but what's great about you guys is that I see an openness to that, giving and receiving of supporting each other and being your best selves. And so that can absolutely shine through in, say, this type of work also. So you've been involved in a setting with national standards for naturopathic licensing. And how has that standardization really helped you shape your perspective on integrity and excellence in medicine?
Well, I think I really value evidence-based therapies, and by helping potentially new naturopathic physicians come out and having to go through this testing, ethics and quality are really, really, really important. So when I'm sure it's for all practitioners, I'm guessing, but we have a very high standard of evidence-based medicine and working ethically with the person.
And what are some of the practices that you have that help you stay grounded, say both yourself and in your relationship?
Well, for sure, meditation. I just reached my 9-year daily meditation practice a couple days ago. So that's every day for 9 years. Very proud of myself.
As a meditator, I know how hard that is. Like that, it's something that a lot of people talk about and they know is good for them now, I think. Finally we're here. But the actual sustained practice is the hard part. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it just makes life easier, though, that's for sure. It's like life is much easier now having kept up that practice. Pilates is a really fun one for me to have that strength and that grounding. And hiking, it just keeps me part of nature's rhythms. And both of those things keep me centered and connected. And then couples-wise, I would say Daniel and I do a lot of stuff together. We just went to a swim class today together, and we were in the same lane, and we just kind of, when we pass each other, we pat each other and make jokes or something. It was an aquania class, so we could talk. Our head was above ground, above the water.
And I hear you guys, trying new things together. I don't know if that was new or not, but just like that curiosity element still comes out too, as far as like the activities you choose to do together. That's really great. So if there's one message that our listeners could walk away with and the folks from the retreat could walk away with, when we think about your energy blueprint and your work with how it can support a successful relationship, what would that be?
I would say that energy is connection, connection with our microbes, with our liver, our heart, our hormones, so everything in our body and our mind, and to each other. I mean, it's said many times, and it's true, that we're all one, and we're all just energy, vibrating energy. And so if we can affect these different areas and live in this rhythm with nature, then we'll have more vitality and love will become effortless.
I like to end every podcast. We've talked a lot about the physical health component and how it relates to emotional and relational health. So thank you so much for like drawing that close together, because you're not just coming in and like we're talking about the physical health component. You truly have a deep understanding about how it really is all interconnected, even to the place where it influences, what you prescribe for people, like on the meditation front. So I deeply value that we have you on board for this retreat. So love can look like, many different things. We've talked about how it can look in the physical manifestation in the body today. And so I end this podcast as I do all podcasts. Nicole, what is love for you? And tell me about a time that you experienced love.
Boy, that's a big, big question. Very on the spot. That's fine. I would say love looks like ease and compassion and deep connectedness.
Ease, compassion, deep connectedness. Great.
I forgot the second part of the question.
Tell me about a time you experienced love.
Every day with this family of mine, with my patients. Something in particular. I'm trying to think. Yesterday, what's this? Sunday, sorry. My daughter drove for the first time. She drove me to my Pilates class, and that was really fun. And that was definitely a sense of love and pride.
That's so beautiful. And I'll just go into a little bit of a recap here with our retreat. So you shared your wisdom and reminded us that true vitality isn't just about having more energy. It's about living in alignment with what nourishes us, body and soul. To our listeners, if today's conversation sparked something in you, imagine what's possible when you give yourself the time and space to fully reset. So this July 2026, during the iconic Calgary Stampede, greatest outdoor show on earth, you're invited to join Dr. Nicole and her husband, Daniel Macca, a former therapist and professional coach, for our Conscious Couples Stampede and Retreat. And together they'll guide you through a transformative experience that blends relationship mastery with physical rejuvenation. You'll explore the Energy Blueprint series, from gut and hormone health to heart and liver vitality, alongside evidence-based practices that strengthen communication, connection, and intimacy. Think of it as a reset for both your relationship and your body, set against the unforgettable energy of a Stampede summer in one of the most beautiful parks in Calgary. Thank you for joining us on the Country Cabin Retreats podcast, What is Love, with Dr. Nicole. If you're ready to recharge your body, rekindle your relationship, and reset your energy, join us for the Conscious Couples Stampede and Retreat in July 2026, Calgary, Alberta. Learn more or reserve your spot at Country Cabin Retreat. You can catch the link in the comments or find us on socials. Today and every day, Country Cabin Retreats invites you to choose love.